Hi there, literature enthusiasts, and welcome back to Frame Shift, your haven for thoughtful cinematic journeys where stories unfold not just as entertainment but as rich texts to be explored, dissected, and cherished. If you love diving deep beneath the surface of film narratives, unearthing symbolism, and pondering thematic intricacies, you're in exactly the right place. Before we embark, a quick reminder: this is a highly intellectual, theoretical, and critical analysis crafted with an audience steeped in literature in mind. The movie itself is a springboard for discussion. This is not a traditional review, but rather a layered exploration meant to inspire and educate. If you find value in this kind of deep dive, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, so we can continue to share these cinematic conversations together. Now, imagine a world where the eternal battle between darkness and light is not just a trope, but a sprawling saga of myth, memory, and identity. The story begins with a warrior caught in a relentless struggle, a woman whose existence is carved out by conflict and haunted by betrayals that blur the lines between ally and enemy. This film propels us into a shadowy realm where vampires and lycans are locked in a brutal war, their centuries-old enmity tearing through the fabric of their secret societies with a ferocity that feels both primal and deeply human. This cinematic tale unfolds as an intricate dance of power, vengeance, and survival. Our protagonist, a fierce and enigmatic figure, navigates treacherous alliances and internal betrayals with a grace born of hardship. The stakes are monumental, not just for the survival of clans but for the very essence of identity and legacy. We watch as ancient codes clash with evolving loyalties, and the past's ghosts threaten to consume the present. The narrative's intensity is matched by its atmospheric tension, where every shadow conceals threats and every glance harbors secrets. The plot spirals through a labyrinth of deception and revelation. Key moments stand out vividly: the daring rescue missions that test bonds, confrontations charged with electric menace, and a web of intrigue that keeps viewers guessing. The film refuses to settle for simplistic good versus evil binaries. Instead, it plunges into the murky moral waters inhabited by its characters. Who can be trusted when survival demands ruthless choices? What price does one pay for vengeance? And is redemption even possible in such a fractured world? Among the film's twists is the revelation of hidden alliances and betrayals that redefine the balance of power. Characters who once seemed steadfast reveal fractures, and enemies morph into reluctant allies. The narrative's momentum is relentless, propelling us toward a climax that promises resolution but leaves enough ambiguity to haunt the imagination. It is a story of cycles, of violence, loss, and fleeting hope, that challenges us to question the nature of fate and free will within a world bound by ancient curses and modern desires. As I reflect on this film, I'm drawn to its layered storytelling, its interplay between mythic archetypes and contemporary struggles. It's a dark fairy tale where the monsters are as much within as without, where the battlefields are as psychological as they are physical. This isn't just a story of vampires and werewolves. It's a meditation on power, identity, and the inescapable shadows that shape us all. And so, as we delve deeper in the coming segments, prepare to unravel these threads, to examine the narrative's architecture, and to engage with its rich symbolic tapestry. Because in this dark world, every shadow tells a story, and every story deserves to be told. The story opens on a world cloaked in shadows, where the war between vampires and lycans isn't just a backdrop. It is the very pulse of existence, shaping lives, loyalties, and legacies in ways both brutal and intimate. Our heroine, a woman of fierce resolve and unyielding spirit, finds herself at the epicenter of this raging conflict, burdened with responsibilities that weigh like armor yet never fully shield her from the scars within. From the very first moments, the tension is palpable. The air crackles with danger, alliances are tentative, and enemies lurk not only beyond the battlefield but within the ranks of those who should be allies. Our protagonist is forced to navigate a treacherous landscape where trust is a scarce commodity, and survival hinges on the razor's edge of vigilance and cunning. Her journey begins not with grand declarations or heroic fanfare but with a quiet intensity, an awareness of the precarious balance she must maintain between duty and desire. As the narrative unfolds, we are drawn into a series of critical events that both define and challenge her. One of the earliest developments is a daring attempt to hold ground against a relentless enemy assault. This isn't merely a fight of brute strength. It is a clash of ideologies, histories, and deeply entrenched grudges. The characters on both sides bear the weight of centuries-old vendettas, and their actions are as much about preserving identity as about winning battles. The battlefield becomes a crucible where past sins and present choices converge, shaping the destiny of all involved amid the chaos. Moments of quiet reveal the complexity of the protagonist's world. We glimpse her vulnerabilities, her doubts, the ghosts of losses that haunt her nights, and the flickers of hope that sustain her resolve. These personal revelations deepen our understanding of her motivations, transforming her from a mere warrior archetype into a figure of compelling humanity. It is through these intimate scenes that the film elevates itself beyond genre conventions, inviting viewers to engage with the emotional and psychological textures of its characters. The narrative intricately weaves flashbacks and present-day action, allowing us to piece together the protagonist's past and the intricate web of relationships that define her. Betrayals that once cut deep resurface, alliances are tested, and the fragile trust that holds her community together threatens to unravel. These layers of story create a tapestry rich with tension and anticipation, compelling us to question who will stand firm and who will falter as the conflict intensifies. A pivotal moment arrives when the protagonist faces an unexpected betrayal from within her own ranks. This betrayal is not just a plot twist. It serves as a mirror reflecting the themes of loyalty and survival that permeate the story. The shock reverberates through the community, fracturing bonds and forcing a reckoning with the costs of war and the nature of leadership. It is a moment heavy with emotional weight, propelling the story into deeper, darker territory. Parallel to these unfolding events is the introduction of new characters whose arrival shifts the balance of power and perspective. Their presence injects fresh energy and complexity, challenging the protagonist's assumptions and strategies. These newcomers are not merely reinforcements. They bring secrets, motivations, and histories that complicate the already volatile dynamics. Their integration into the narrative underscores the film's exploration of identity, not as a fixed state but as a constantly evolving interplay of past and present. The tension escalates as both factions mobilize for a decisive confrontation. Preparations for this clash reveal the strains within the vampire and lycan camps, the fraying nerves, the whispered doubts, and the fierce determination that drives warriors to stand against seemingly insurmountable odds. The film captures these moments with a gripping intensity, balancing sweeping action sequences with close-up shots that convey the raw emotions etched on the faces of those who fight. In one particularly striking sequence, the protagonist confronts a moral dilemma that challenges her beliefs and forces her to weigh personal loyalty against the greater good. This moment crystallizes the film's thematic depth, highlighting the complexities of leadership in a world where clear choices are rare and the consequences of each decision echo far beyond the battlefield. It is a turning point that deepens her character and sets the stage for the unfolding drama. Amid these escalating conflicts, the film does not lose sight of the intimate relationships that define its core. Moments of tenderness, friendship, and shared grief provide emotional counterpoints to the violence and strife. These interactions humanize the characters, grounding the mythic struggle in relatable experiences of connection and loss. They remind us that beneath the layers of blood and battle lies a yearning for understanding and peace. As the narrative progresses, the protagonist's journey becomes increasingly entwined with the fate of her people and the shifting tides of power. Strategic moves and countermoves unfold in a complex dance, with each side seeking advantage while grappling with internal divisions. The film portrays these machinations with a nuanced eye, avoiding simple binaries and instead presenting a world where alliances are fragile and motivations multifaceted. A key development arrives when the protagonist uncovers a hidden threat that imperils not just her faction but the fragile balance of the entire supernatural world. This revelation propels the story into new territory, expanding its scope and raising the stakes dramatically. The threat is both external and symbolic, a manifestation of the destructive cycles that the characters are trapped within, and a challenge to their capacity for change and redemption. The first act concludes with a crescendo of tension and uncertainty. Battles fought and choices made have set the stage for an epic confrontation, yet the outcome remains shrouded in ambiguity. The protagonist stands at a crossroads, her strength tested and her resolve hardened by the trials endured. The film leaves us poised on the edge of revelation, eager to see how the threads will unravel in the chapters to come. Reflecting on these early developments, what strikes me most is the film's commitment to exploring the complexities of war and identity through the lens of supernatural myth. It resists the temptation to reduce its characters to mere archetypes, instead imbuing them with a depth that invites empathy and contemplation. The interplay of action and introspection creates a rhythm that captivates and challenges, offering a narrative experience that is as intellectually stimulating as it is viscerally engaging. In this shadowed world, where allegiances shift like mist and every victory is tinged with loss, the story invites us to consider the costs of survival and the possibility of transformation. The protagonist's journey is not just about combat or conquest. It is a meditation on resilience, trust, and the search for meaning amid chaos. As we continue to unravel this tale, we are reminded that beneath the surface of myth lies the very real human struggle to find light in darkness. The tension that had been simmering beneath the surface finally boils over as the story plunges into its latter stages, where every decision, every alliance, and every betrayal takes on a heightened significance. Our protagonist, now tempered by trials and scars both seen and unseen, faces the most daunting challenges yet, not just in battle, but in the realm of trust and self-discovery. The second phase of this saga is an unrelenting tide of revelations, confrontations, and transformations, each ripple echoing across the fragile worlds of vampires and lycans. The shadowy landscape becomes even more treacherous as hidden enemies emerge from the folds of secrecy, their intentions cloaked in deception. The betrayals introduced earlier begin to unfold with devastating consequences, reshaping the power dynamics and forcing old enemies to reconsider their positions. What once seemed clear, who was friend and who was foe, blurs into a complex mosaic of shifting loyalties and uneasy truces. The protagonist must navigate this maze with a keen mind and a wary heart, aware that a single misstep could spell doom not only for herself but for the entire community she fights to protect. One of the pivotal twists arises when the true scope of the conflict is unveiled. The battle transcends a mere war for dominance. It becomes a fight for survival against a force more insidious and potent than any enemy previously faced. This revelation reframes the struggle, injecting a profound urgency into the narrative. The protagonist and her allies are compelled to forge unlikely partnerships and embrace strategies that challenge their deepest beliefs and instincts. It is a moment that underscores the story's thematic core, that survival often demands sacrifice, and that redemption may be found in unexpected places. Amid this upheaval, the relationships that have been carefully nurtured are put to the ultimate test. The protagonist confronts betrayals not just by external foes but by those she once trusted implicitly. These personal wounds cut deep, revealing vulnerabilities that humanize her in stark contrast to her fierce warrior exterior. Yet, it is through these moments of pain and forgiveness that the character's complexities come to the fore, enriching the narrative with emotional gravitas and depth. The film's pacing accelerates, weaving sequences of high-stakes action with quieter, charged moments of introspection and dialogue. Battles erupt with visceral intensity, choreographed to convey not just physical prowess but the emotional stakes driving each combatant. Every clash is a conversation, a negotiation of power and will, where the lines between victory and loss are razor-thin. The tension between light and darkness, both literal and metaphorical, plays out in these scenes, illuminating the characters' inner struggles as much as the external ones. As the climax approaches, the protagonist uncovers a critical piece of knowledge, an ancient secret or lost artifact, that holds the key to shifting the tides of war. This discovery injects the narrative with renewed hope and a sense of destiny, though it also raises complex moral questions. The power to change the course of history carries with it the weight of responsibility and the potential for unforeseen consequences. The protagonist grapples with these dilemmas, embodying the story's exploration of agency versus fate, and the often painful choices leaders must make. The final confrontation is both spectacular and intimate, blending sweeping spectacle with personal reckoning. The battlefield becomes a crucible where long-held grudges, fears, and hopes converge. The protagonist faces her most formidable adversary, a figure who embodies the destructive cycles of vengeance and pride that the film critiques. Their duel is charged with symbolism and emotion, a dance of blades and wills that reveals as much about their characters as it does about the larger conflict. Resolution arrives not in simple triumph but in nuanced transformation. The protagonist's victory is tempered by sacrifice, loss, and the recognition that the war's scars will endure even as new paths open. Allies who were once divided find common cause, hinting at the possibility of healing and renewal. The story closes on a note of cautious optimism, suggesting that while darkness will always linger, the resilience of those who fight for light can shape a different future. Reflecting on this conclusion, what resonates most is the film's refusal to offer easy answers. It acknowledges the complexity of identity, the costs of power, and the ambiguous nature of morality in a world shaped by ancient conflict. The narrative challenges viewers to consider how cycles of violence might be broken, not through domination but through understanding and courage. This final chapter also deepens the film's meditation on transformation, not just physical but psychological and spiritual. Characters evolve, not by shedding their pasts, but by integrating their experiences and choosing paths that defy expectation. It's a testament to the enduring human capacity for growth, even in the face of relentless adversity. In this shadowed realm where myth and reality intertwine, the story ultimately speaks to universal themes of belonging, sacrifice, and hope. It invites us to ponder how we confront our own inner darkness, how we navigate the betrayals and alliances in our lives, and how we find strength in vulnerability. As the credits roll, the echoes of battle linger, but so does a sense of possibility, a promise that even amid darkness, the light of resilience and renewal can shine through. This is a tale not just of monsters and war, but of the enduring quest to redefine ourselves and the worlds we inhabit. And so, as we close this chapter of exploration, we are left with questions as profound as the narrative itself. What does it truly mean to be human when caught between worlds? How do we reconcile our histories with our desires for peace? These are the stories that endure, whispered not just in the clash of swords but in the quiet moments of reflection that follow. With this, the journey continues, inviting us all to look beyond the surface and engage with the deeper currents that shape the tales we tell and the lives we lead. In the labyrinthine world carved out by shadows and ancient grudges, the characters emerge not as mere archetypes, but as richly textured beings shaped by history, choice, and the relentless demands of survival. Their complexities form the emotional backbone of the narrative, inviting us to explore the contours of identity, loyalty, and transformation within a realm where the line between predator and protector is often blurred. At the heart of this tapestry is the protagonist, a figure forged in the crucible of conflict and resilience. She carries the weight of leadership with a fierce determination that conceals a deep well of vulnerability. Her physical prowess and strategic mind are matched by an emotional depth that reveals itself in moments of quiet reflection and painful sacrifice. Through her, the story examines themes of duty and desire, exploring how the demands of command often clash with the yearnings of the heart. Her past is etched into every scar and decision, a haunting presence that colors her relationships and choices. The memories of losses endured and betrayals suffered shape her guarded demeanor, yet they also fuel an unyielding commitment to protect those she holds dear. This duality, strength tempered by fragility, renders her profoundly human, even as she navigates a world steeped in myth and violence. Supporting her journey is a cast of allies and adversaries, each adding layers of nuance and tension to the unfolding drama. Among them is a figure whose loyalty is as fierce as it is complicated, a companion who balances fierce protectiveness with moments of doubt and fear. Their dynamic reveals the intricate dance of trust and dependency that sustains the group, even as external pressures threaten to unravel it. This character embodies the theme of friendship tested by war, illustrating how bonds can both heal and fracture under duress. Another pivotal character is the enigmatic newcomer, whose arrival introduces fresh perspectives and unforeseen complications. Their background, steeped in mystery and personal conflict, challenges established hierarchies and forces the protagonist to confront her own assumptions. This figure's journey from outsider to integral member of the group reflects broader themes of acceptance and transformation, underscoring the narrative's exploration of identity as fluid and contested. The antagonist, far from a mere villain, is rendered with a complexity that elevates the conflict beyond simple good versus evil. Motivated by a blend of vengeance, ideology, and personal trauma, this character embodies the destructive cycles that plague the story's world. Their presence is a catalyst for both external battle and internal reckoning, forcing protagonists and viewers alike to grapple with the shades of morality that define human and inhuman actions. This antagonist's arc invites reflection on the costs of hatred and the possibility of redemption, even for those consumed by darkness. Interwoven among these central figures are secondary characters whose stories enrich the narrative fabric. Warriors hardened by centuries of battle, scholars who seek knowledge amid chaos, and betrayed friends who wrestle with loyalty and loss all contribute to the mosaic of experience. Their interactions provide texture and depth, illustrating how collective histories and individual choices shape the course of conflict and survival. The relationships between characters serve as a mirror to the story's thematic concerns. Romance, mentorship, rivalry, and betrayal unfold with emotional resonance, highlighting the human need for connection even in the harshest circumstances. These bonds complicate the narrative, adding stakes that are personal as well as political. Moments of tenderness and confrontation alike reveal the characters' inner landscapes, making their struggles feel immediate and poignant. One particularly compelling relationship is the tenuous alliance between the protagonist and a former enemy, a dynamic fraught with suspicion and reluctant respect. This relationship encapsulates the story's meditation on reconciliation and the difficulty of overcoming entrenched animosities. Through their evolving interactions, the film probes the possibility of peace born not from victory but from understanding and compromise. The character's evolution over the course of the story is marked by moments of revelation and choice. Faced with impossible odds, they must reconcile their pasts with their aspirations, often redefining themselves in the process. This journey of self-discovery is not linear. It is marked by setbacks and breakthroughs that reflect the complexity of identity in a fractured world. The narrative does not offer easy resolutions but embraces the ambiguity and struggle inherent in transformation. Physicality and appearance also play a significant role in character portrayal. Costuming and makeup reflect not just the practicalities of battle but the symbolic weight of heritage and allegiance. Scars, tattoos, and armor become visual markers of history and personality, telling stories that dialogue alone cannot. These elements contribute to the immersive quality of the film, grounding its mythic themes in tangible detail. Dialogue and performance deepen character development, revealing motivations, fears, and hopes. Moments of silence and gesture are as telling as spoken words, conveying the unspoken burdens carried by those who live in a world perpetually on the brink. The actors' nuanced portrayals bring emotional authenticity, inviting empathy and investment. In reflecting on these characters, what emerges is a portrait of beings shaped by circumstance yet striving toward agency. Their struggles illuminate universal themes: power and vulnerability, loyalty and betrayal, the quest for meaning amid chaos. The film's strength lies in its refusal to flatten its characters into stereotypes, instead embracing their contradictions and complexities. Ultimately, this character ensemble transforms the narrative into a meditation on the human condition as filtered through the lens of myth and conflict. Their journeys challenge us to consider the costs of survival and the possibilities of redemption. In their struggles, we glimpse the fragile beauty of resilience and the enduring search for connection. As we continue to explore their stories, we are reminded that beneath the layers of legend and bloodshed lie the intimate experiences of loss, love, and hope. These characters do more than inhabit a dark fantasy. They embody the timeless truths of courage and transformation that resonate far beyond the shadows. The making of this film unfolds as a tale almost as intriguing and shadowed as the story it tells on screen. A dance behind the curtains where the lights flicker with mystery, chance, and the unpredictable alchemy of creativity and circumstance. As we peel back the layers of the production, what emerges is a collection of the strangest, most fascinating moments that blend the professional rigor of filmmaking with moments of serendipity, tension, and even a bit of the uncanny. One of the earliest curiosities dates back to the very inception of the project. The film's concept had to navigate a labyrinth of challenges, not just creative but logistical. The producers initially grappled with finding a way to balance the dark, gothic atmosphere with the demands of modern cinematic spectacle. This balancing act was so delicate that early drafts of the screenplay saw entire factions of characters shifted or even eliminated, only to be reinstated later after passionate debates among the creative team. The process of resurrecting these elements speaks to the evolving vision, a push and pull between honoring genre traditions and innovating fresh narratives. The casting process revealed its own set of peculiar tales. One notable incident involved an actor who was initially hesitant to join the project due to the physical demands and the complexity of the makeup and prosthetics required. This actor recounted how the transformation was so intense that on set, crew members would sometimes momentarily forget they were dealing with a human behind the elaborate facade. The commitment to embodying these supernatural beings was not merely a matter of performance but a grueling physical ordeal, involving hours of preparation under hot lights and layers of costume and prosthetic. Makeup and special effects teams have always been the unsung magicians in films of this genre, but here their work ventured into almost uncanny territory. The prosthetics designed to depict the creatures were so intricate that the actors sometimes experienced sensory disorientation. On multiple occasions, performers described a surreal sensation of becoming the creatures themselves, a melding of physical discomfort and psychological immersion. This profound embodiment added a palpable authenticity to the performances but also demanded resilience and stamina. Among the strangest behind-the-scenes stories is an episode involving a set location that seemed almost cursed. The production chose a remote forested area for key outdoor scenes, a place chosen for its haunting beauty and atmosphere. Yet, crew members reported a series of inexplicable occurrences, equipment malfunctions, sudden unexplained noises, and a persistent feeling of being watched. These events were documented with a mix of skepticism and superstition, but they added an eerie layer to the filming experience. Some cast and crew embraced the unsettling atmosphere as fuel for their performances, while others found it unnerving enough to keep their nerves on edge throughout the shoot. The scheduling of night shoots, essential for the film's dark ambience, introduced another set of challenges. The actors and crew endured grueling hours, often working in cold, damp conditions that tested their endurance. These night shoots sometimes triggered peculiar incidents, such as unexplained shadows or fleeting figures caught on camera, that fueled rumors of paranormal activity on set. Whether these were tricks of light, camera glitches, or something more mysterious, the tales became part of the production lore, whispered among the team and passed along in interviews. The use of practical effects blended seamlessly with emerging digital technologies, but the interplay between the two gave rise to some unexpected outcomes. For instance, one complex stunt involving wirework and pyrotechnics had to be reset multiple times due to timing errors, but one accidental misfire created a visually stunning explosion that the director decided to keep in the final cut. This happy accident became a signature moment, illustrating how sometimes the strangest mishaps can become creative triumphs. One of the more bizarre trivia pieces revolves around a seemingly minor prop, a weapon with an intricate design, that had to be recreated multiple times after a series of thefts and damages on set. The prop became a sort of talisman for the production, inspiring a mix of superstition and humor among the crew. Stories circulated about the prop's disappearances and reappearances, with some joking it was enchanted or that the characters it belonged to were exerting their supernatural will beyond the screen. The soundtrack also harbors its own share of unusual tales. The composer sought to integrate traditional orchestral elements with experimental sounds, recording some instruments in unconventional spaces to capture unique acoustics. One session took place in an abandoned cathedral, where natural reverberations lent an otherworldly quality to the music. This choice added a haunting dimension to the score but also challenged the musicians, who had to adapt to unpredictable echoes and acoustic anomalies. During post-production, the editing team faced a mountain of footage that presented narrative puzzles. Scenes shot in different locations and lighting conditions required meticulous color grading and digital blending to maintain visual continuity. One intriguing aspect was the deliberate choice to leave certain sequences slightly ambiguous, using shadow and selective focus to create moods rather than explicit clarity. This artistic decision sparked lively debates about viewer interpretation and the boundaries between horror and psychological thriller genres. Another curious note involves the involvement of fan communities even before the film's release. The production team engaged with dedicated followers of the franchise through early screenings and feedback sessions, an unusual approach that influenced minor script tweaks and marketing strategies. This direct dialogue with fans created a feedback loop that blurred the lines between creator and audience, reflecting a modern trend in franchise filmmaking but also adding layers of expectation and pressure. As filming progressed, the cast and crew developed rituals to combat the intense emotional and physical demands. These ranged from simple practices like shared meals and storytelling to more eccentric habits, such as a tradition of telling ghost stories around the campfire during night shoots. These rituals fostered a sense of camaraderie but also tapped into the film's themes of darkness and mystery, reinforcing the immersive experience for those involved. One unexpected production story centers on an actor's pet that unexpectedly became a mascot on set. This small creature appeared during multiple takes and behind-the-scenes footage, often wandering into shots or calming nervous cast members. Its presence brought a touch of warmth and levity amidst the tension, becoming a beloved part of the production family. Finally, the film's marketing campaign embraced a blend of traditional and viral strategies, including cryptic teasers that hinted at plot twists and character secrets without revealing too much. This approach generated buzz and speculation but also risked confusing casual viewers, illustrating the delicate balance between intrigue and clarity in promoting complex narratives. Reflecting on these behind-the-scenes stories, what emerges is a portrait of filmmaking as a deeply human endeavor, fraught with unpredictability, creativity, and moments that defy explanation. The strange and unusual incidents that peppered the production became woven into the film's mythology, enriching its mystique and connecting the cast and crew to the story in ways that transcended the script. In the end, these tales remind us that the magic of cinema is not just in what appears on screen, but in the lived experiences of those who bring these stories to life. Through chance encounters, whispered legends, and the enduring spirit of collaboration that turns shadow and light into art. The film unfolds as a shadowy tapestry woven from threads of conflict, identity, and survival, inviting us not merely to witness but to critically engage with its layered narrative and evocative imagery. Each significant event functions as a fulcrum, tipping the balance between characters and ideologies, while simultaneously deepening the film's thematic core and shaping its reception among viewers and critics alike. Through this journey, we come to understand how moments of violence and revelation are not isolated spectacles but integral elements of a broader meditation on power, loyalty, and transformation. One of the most pivotal events centers around the protagonist's confrontation with betrayal within her own circle, a moment that jolts the narrative from steady tension to explosive turmoil. From a critical perspective, this betrayal is more than plot mechanics. It functions as a narrative mirror reflecting the instability inherent in a world where alliances are tenuous and survival demands ruthless calculation. The emotional weight carried by this event resonates because it reveals vulnerabilities beneath the armor of mythic strength. It challenges viewers to consider the fragility of trust when survival itself is a battleground. Critically, this event also deepens the exploration of leadership and responsibility. The protagonist's response to the betrayal is a defining moment, showcasing the interplay between personal loyalty and the imperatives of command. Her decisions reverberate beyond immediate consequences, signaling a willingness to embrace moral ambiguity for the greater good. This complexity enriches the film's thematic landscape, inviting reflection on the costs of power and the sacrifices demanded by duty. Another crucial event is the revelation of an ancient, hidden threat that transcends factional rivalries and demands a unified response. From a critical lens, this narrative turn expands the scope of the conflict, shifting it from a localized feud to a cosmic struggle with existential stakes. It underscores the film's engagement with themes of destiny and agency, emphasizing how individuals and communities grapple with forces both internal and external. This revelation recontextualizes earlier conflicts, imbuing them with renewed urgency and significance. This event also functions narratively to challenge entrenched identities. The characters are compelled to reconsider their allegiances and preconceptions in the face of a shared enemy. Such a thematic pivot resonates with broader cultural conversations about unity amidst division, highlighting the potential for transformation through collective action. Critics have noted how this moment elevates the narrative beyond genre conventions, framing it as a meditation on reconciliation and the politics of survival. The film's climactic battle stands as a focal point for critical analysis, combining visceral spectacle with symbolic depth. The choreography of combat sequences is meticulously crafted to reflect the emotional and ideological stakes at play. Each strike and parry is charged with meaning, illustrating the characters' inner conflicts and the broader thematic tensions between light and darkness, tradition and change. This fusion of form and content heightens the audience's immersion and underscores the narrative's dual commitment to thrilling action and profound storytelling. Critically, the climax also serves as a site of catharsis and ambiguity. While it provides resolution, it resists simplistic closure, leaving questions about justice, redemption, and the cyclical nature of violence unanswered. This openness invites viewers to engage actively with the film's moral universe, challenging passive consumption and encouraging interpretive reflection. The emotional resonance achieved here speaks to the film's success in balancing entertainment with intellectual depth. Throughout the film, moments of intimate dialogue and interpersonal tension punctuate the larger narrative, offering critical insight into character motivations and thematic development. These quieter scenes function as narrative counterweights to the high-stakes action, humanizing figures who might otherwise be reduced to mythic archetypes. Their inclusion reflects a deliberate storytelling choice to foreground emotional complexity and relational dynamics, enriching the audience's connection to the characters. From a thematic perspective, these interactions illuminate the film's preoccupation with identity as multifaceted and contested. Characters grapple with personal histories, cultural legacies, and shifting loyalties, embodying the tensions between selfhood and community. Critics have lauded the film's nuanced portrayal of these struggles, noting how they resonate with contemporary issues of belonging and transformation. The film's use of visual symbolism further deepens its critical impact. Recurring motifs, such as the interplay of light and shadow, the presence of scars, and the symbolic significance of weapons and artifacts, function as visual metaphors that reinforce and complicate the narrative themes. These symbols invite layered readings, allowing viewers to uncover meaning beyond the surface action. Critics have highlighted how the film's cinematography and production design contribute to this symbolic richness. The contrast between claustrophobic interiors and expansive landscapes reflects the characters' psychological states and thematic tensions. Color palettes shift to underscore mood and character development, while careful framing emphasizes isolation, connection, or conflict as needed. This visual storytelling complements and enhances the narrative's emotional and intellectual resonance. The film's soundtrack and sound design play a vital role in shaping its atmosphere and reinforcing thematic concerns. The blend of orchestral and electronic elements creates a soundscape that is at once timeless and contemporary, echoing the film's thematic fusion of ancient myth and modern experience. Sound motifs recur to signal emotional shifts or thematic cues, guiding viewer interpretation and engagement. Critical reception of the film has been shaped by its ambitious narrative and thematic scope. Some reviewers have praised its willingness to explore complex moral landscapes and its richly realized characters, while others have critiqued its pacing or narrative density. This diversity of opinion reflects the film's layered approach, which invites multiple interpretations and resists reductive judgment. Viewer responses have similarly varied, with many drawn to the film's dark aesthetic and philosophical undertones, while others emphasize the visceral excitement of its action sequences. Fan communities have engaged deeply with the film's symbolism and themes, generating discussions that extend the narrative beyond the screen and into broader cultural conversations. In sum, the film's significant events serve as critical touchstones that both advance the plot and deepen its thematic resonance. They invite viewers to contemplate the complexities of power, identity, and survival in a world where darkness and light intertwine. Through its narrative choices and stylistic elements, the film achieves a balance between spectacle and substance, offering a cinematic experience that is both thrilling and thought-provoking. As we reflect on these perspectives, we recognize the film's contribution to its genre as a work that challenges conventions and enriches the discourse around mythic storytelling. It stands as an example of how genre cinema can engage with profound human concerns, transforming tales of monsters and war into explorations of the human spirit. Ultimately, the film encourages us to consider the narratives we tell about ourselves and the worlds we inhabit. It prompts questions about the nature of conflict and reconciliation, the possibilities of transformation, and the enduring power of stories to illuminate our shared humanity. In doing so, it leaves a lasting impression that lingers well beyond its final frame. The making of this film is a journey as rich and compelling as the story it tells, a layered process where artistry meets craft, and where the magic of cinema is forged not only in grand studios but in the sweat, creativity, and serendipity of countless individuals working in concert. Exploring the filmmaking process unveils a world behind the camera that brims with challenges, innovation, and moments of unexpected delight, all contributing to the tapestry that ultimately unfolds on screen. From the earliest stages, the filmmakers approached this project with a vision to blend gothic atmosphere with kinetic action, crafting a world that feels at once ancient and immediate. The production design team faced the daunting task of bringing to life a universe that balances myth and reality, one where the shadows are as alive as the characters who inhabit them. This meant creating sets that are not merely backdrops but immersive environments, layered with textures, symbols, and details that enrich the narrative's emotional and thematic resonance. Building these environments often required extensive research and collaboration. The art department delved into historical sources, folklore, and architectural styles to create a visual language that is cohesive and evocative. Their work involved painstaking attention to detail, from the weathered surfaces of stone walls to the subtle interplay of light and shadow that gives each location its unique mood. One fascinating insight is how the team used natural materials alongside synthetic ones to achieve a tactile authenticity, ensuring that every surface tells a story. Costume design was another cornerstone of the production's immersive quality. The designers sought to reflect not only the practical needs of the characters but their identities and histories. Each garment is carefully crafted, with fabrics and patterns chosen to signify allegiance, status, and personality. The layering of textures and colors was intended to convey the complexity of the character's world, a place where tradition and change collide. A behind-the-scenes anecdote reveals how the costume team created multiple iterations of key outfits, testing them under different lighting conditions and camera angles to ensure they conveyed the intended effect on screen. The process of transforming actors into their supernatural counterparts involved a collaboration between makeup artists, prosthetic designers, and special effects teams that pushed the boundaries of their crafts. The makeup department employed advanced techniques to create looks that are both haunting and believable, blending practical effects with subtle digital enhancements. Actors often spent hours in the makeup chair, their transformations so profound that the line between human and creature seemed to blur. Stories from the set recount moments when cast and crew would momentarily forget the actors were beneath the elaborate prosthetics, a testament to the skill and dedication involved. Filming took place across diverse locations, each chosen for its ability to evoke the film's dark and atmospheric tone. From dense forests shrouded in mist to imposing Gothic architecture, these settings became active participants in the storytelling. One unusual occurrence during production involved weather conditions that both challenged and inspired the crew. A prolonged period of fog, initially considered a hindrance, was embraced for its eerie quality and integrated into several key scenes, adding an organic layer of atmosphere that no artificial effect could replicate. The technical aspects of shooting also demanded innovation and adaptability. The cinematography team employed a mix of handheld and stabilized camera techniques to capture both the frenetic energy of combat and the intimate emotional moments. Lighting played a critical role, with chiaroscuro effects used to sculpt faces and spaces, enhancing the film's themes of duality and hidden truths. A notable insight from the director of photography describes experimenting with custom light filters and practical light sources to achieve a naturalistic yet stylized look, blending realism with mythic grandeur. Stunt coordination and action choreography were integral to the film's visceral impact. The stunt team worked closely with actors to design sequences that are not only spectacular but narratively meaningful. The physicality of these scenes is intended to reflect the characters' inner conflicts and the high stakes of their world. An amusing behind-the-scenes story highlights a particularly complex fight sequence that required dozens of rehearsals and meticulous timing to ensure safety and visual coherence, showcasing the blend of artistry and discipline that underpins such moments. Sound design and music composition further elevate the film's immersive quality. The sound team crafted a layered soundscape that intertwines natural and supernatural elements, using both recorded and synthesized sounds to create textures that are unsettling and evocative. The composer blended orchestral motifs with electronic undertones, mirroring the film's fusion of ancient myth and contemporary edge. Recording sessions for the score took place in acoustically unique spaces, adding depth and resonance to the music that supports the narrative's emotional arc. Editing was a critical phase where narrative clarity and pacing were honed. The editors worked closely with the director to balance action sequences with quieter, character-driven moments, ensuring that the film's rhythm supports its thematic intentions. One interesting fact is that multiple versions of key scenes were crafted and tested, allowing the creative team to explore different emotional tones and narrative emphases before settling on the final cut. Throughout production, the atmosphere on set was marked by a mix of intense focus and camaraderie. Cast and crew shared rituals and routines to manage the demands of shooting, from group meals to storytelling sessions that fostered a sense of community. These moments of connection not only eased the pressures but infused the work with a spirit of collaboration and shared purpose. The post-production phase involved intricate work in visual effects, color grading, and sound mixing, each contributing to the seamless integration of practical and digital elements. Visual effects artists created subtle enhancements that augmented rather than overshadowed the physical performances and sets, maintaining the film's grounded yet fantastical aesthetic. Colorists crafted palettes that shift in tone and intensity to reflect narrative developments, using color as a storytelling device that interacts with character and theme. Marketing the film involved innovative strategies that reflected its thematic complexity. The campaign utilized cryptic teasers and interactive digital content to engage audiences intellectually and emotionally, inviting speculation and discussion. This approach sought to transcend conventional genre marketing, positioning the film as not only entertainment but a cultural text worthy of analysis. Reflecting on these production insights and fun facts reveals the multifaceted nature of filmmaking, a process that is equal parts technical mastery, artistic vision, and human endeavor. The strange occurrences, meticulous craftsmanship, and moments of serendipity coalesce into a work that is as much a product of collaboration and creativity as of the narrative it tells. These behind-the-scenes stories remind us that the magic of cinema emerges from the dedication and passion of those who labor in every department, weaving together their talents to create worlds that captivate and resonate. In the end, the film stands as a testament to the power of imagination and teamwork, inviting audiences not only to watch but to experience and reflect. The process of bringing this dark, mythic tale to life is itself a story of challenges met, visions realized, and unexpected moments that become legendary within the film's own lore. It is in this interplay of craft and chance that the film finds its enduring spirit, echoing the themes of transformation and resilience that lie at its core. The world the film invites us into is more than a mere backdrop. It is a living, breathing entity that shapes the very pulse of the narrative. From the moment the first scene unfolds, the settings command attention, not just through their physical presence but through the atmosphere they conjure, the moods they invoke, and the stories they silently tell. The film's locales, both real and constructed, are meticulously chosen and crafted to resonate with the story's themes of conflict, identity, and transformation, creating an immersive experience that blurs the line between environment and emotion. One of the most striking aspects of the film's setting is the way it captures a timeless, mythic quality while remaining grounded in tangible reality. The designers and location scouts sought out landscapes that carry an inherent sense of mystery and foreboding, a dense forest shrouded in mist, an ancient fortress rising from rugged cliffs, shadowy urban enclaves where secrets fester beneath the surface. Each location is infused with symbolic weight, echoing the characters' internal struggles and the larger battle that drives the plot. The forested regions, for instance, are more than just natural scenery. They become a metaphor for the unknown and the liminal space between worlds. The interplay of light filtering through thick canopy, the pervasive silence punctuated by distant sounds, and the shifting shadows create a sense of unease and anticipation. This setting heightens the tension during key sequences, reflecting the character's journey into danger and self-discovery. The forest's wildness mirrors the chaos and unpredictability of the war that rages beyond its borders, a place where rules dissolve and primal instincts surface. In contrast, the fortress and urban settings provide a counterpoint, a realm of order and history, but also confinement and decay. The fortress's stone walls bear the scars of countless battles, its corridors echoing with memories of past glories and betrayals. It stands as a symbol of tradition and authority, yet also of stagnation and the weight of legacy. The urban locales, with their narrow alleys and shadowed corners, underscore the film's themes of secrecy and survival in a modern world that intersects uneasily with ancient myth. Here, the tension between the visible and the hidden plays out visually, reinforcing narrative themes. The production design team's attention to detail in these settings is remarkable. Every element, from the texture of walls to the arrangement of props, is carefully selected to enhance the storytelling. Weathered surfaces, faded tapestries, and scattered relics speak to histories both personal and collective. The use of natural materials and organic forms grounds the fantasy elements, creating a tactile authenticity that draws viewers deeper into the world. Even the smallest details, a cracked mirror, a flickering candle, a rusted weapon, carry symbolic resonance, enriching the film's thematic texture. Cinematography plays a pivotal role in amplifying the power of these settings. The director of photography employs a sophisticated visual language that captures not only the physical space but also its emotional and psychological dimensions. The choice of lenses, camera movement, and framing all contribute to a mood that is at once intimate and epic. Wide shots reveal the vastness and isolation of certain landscapes, while close-ups focus on textures and expressions, bridging the external environment with internal states. Lighting, in particular, is masterfully manipulated to evoke contrasts between hope and despair, clarity and confusion, safety and threat. Chiaroscuro techniques, drawing from classic film noir and gothic traditions, sculpt the scenes with pools of light and deep shadows, creating a chiaroscuro that mirrors the narrative's exploration of dualities. This play of light and dark is not merely aesthetic but thematic, visually encoding the tensions and ambiguities at the heart of the story. Color palettes shift strategically throughout the film to support mood and narrative progression. Early scenes bathe in cooler, muted tones, blues, grays, and desaturated greens, that evoke a world gripped by uncertainty and fear. As the story advances and conflicts intensify, warmer hues, fiery oranges, blood reds, and golden ambers pierce through, signaling moments of passion, violence, and revelation. These chromatic choices serve as emotional cues, guiding the audience's responses and deepening engagement. The film's use of practical effects further grounds the fantastical elements within these richly realized settings. The interaction between actors and crew was marked by mutual respect and collaboration. Directors and cinematographers worked closely with performers, tailoring shots and movements to highlight not only the physicality but the emotional subtleties of scenes. The special effects and makeup teams often collaborated directly with actors to fine-tune prosthetics, ensuring that the creatures felt both authentic and expressive. This synergy extended to stunt coordinators who patiently taught complex sequences, sometimes modifying choreography to suit individual capabilities and to maintain safety without sacrificing visual impact. Despite these moments of harmony, the production faced its share of formidable challenges. Weather, for example, proved a merciless adversary. Many key scenes were scheduled outdoors, relying on natural light and atmosphere to convey the film's haunting tone. Yet, storms and unseasonal rains disrupted shooting, forcing the team to adapt on the fly. One particularly striking story involves a day when a sudden downpour threatened to wash away not just equipment but the carefully built set pieces and costumes. The crew's quick thinking and teamwork turned potential disaster into a creative opportunity. They incorporated the rain into the scene, using it to heighten tension and visual drama. Another major hurdle was the sheer physical toll on the actors, especially those required to endure extensive makeup and perform demanding stunts. One actor shared how hours in the makeup chair, combined with intense fight choreography and difficult terrain, tested both endurance and mental resilience. To support the cast, the production arranged for physical therapists and wellness coaches on set, emphasizing the importance of health amid the strenuous schedule. These provisions were critical in preventing injuries and maintaining morale. Technical difficulties also abounded. Complex lighting setups required for the film's chiaroscuro aesthetic demanded precise coordination. During one shoot, a malfunction in the lighting grid caused several delays, forcing the team to improvise with portable rigs and natural light. This incident, while stressful, showcased the crew's adaptability and problem-solving skills. They transformed constraints into creative solutions that enhanced the visual texture rather than detracting from it. The use of practical effects alongside CGI presented unique challenges in timing and coordination. For example, scenes combining live explosions with digital enhancements required meticulous planning to ensure actor safety and seamless integration. The special effects team recounts one day where a planned pyrotechnic effect had to be recalibrated multiple times, causing frustration but ultimately resulting in a sequence praised for its visceral impact. These moments highlighted the delicate balance between artistry and logistics. Filming night sequences introduced additional complications. Working in cold temperatures with minimal light tested endurance and focus. To maintain energy, the crew developed systems of rotation and rest breaks, ensuring safety while preserving momentum. Anecdotes from these shoots describe moments of eerie silence broken by bursts of laughter, as the cast and crew navigated the surreal environment together. One of the most amusing behind-the-scenes tales involves a malfunctioning prop that became an unexpected source of humor. A weapon, intricately designed but notoriously delicate, repeatedly broke during takes, causing a running gag among the team. Cast members would jokingly curse the prop, while the prop masters became legendary for their rapid repairs. This levity provided welcome relief amid the intensity of production. Communication across departments was key to navigating the film's complexity. The production team implemented daily briefings where department heads shared updates and coordinated schedules. This transparent approach fostered a collective sense of purpose and minimized conflicts. In moments of tension, leaders emphasized empathy and collaboration, understanding that the film's success depended on the well-being and cohesion of its people. The director's leadership style was often described as both visionary and inclusive. He encouraged input from all levels, valuing the insights of even the newest crew members. This openness nurtured innovation and investment, making each contributor feel integral to the project. Stories circulative brainstorming sessions where ideas sparked spontaneous changes that enriched scenes or solved persistent problems. The experience was not without moments of personal growth and challenge. Some cast members faced emotional hurdles, especially when portraying characters grappling with trauma and loss. The director facilitated supportive environments where actors could explore these depths safely, sometimes involving professional counselors. This commitment to emotional well-being enhanced performances, adding layers of authenticity and empathy to the film. As post-production commenced, the cast and crew shifted gears into a phase of reflection and refinement. Editors and visual effects artists worked long hours to stitch together disparate elements into a coherent and compelling narrative. The sound team experimented with layering to create immersive soundscapes that complemented the visuals. Test screenings provided valuable feedback, leading to fine-tuning that balanced pacing and tone. Looking back, the production story is one of resilience and creativity, a testament to the collaborative spirit that underpins filmmaking. The challenges met with resourcefulness, the laughter amidst the hardship, and the shared commitment to storytelling have left an indelible mark on all involved. These behind-the-scenes moments, often invisible to audiences, form the heartbeat of the film's success, enriching it with a spirit that resonates beyond the screen. In the end, the journey from script to screen is revealed as a mosaic of human experience, of passion, perseverance, and the unpredictable magic that arises when dedicated artists come together to bring a vision to life. It is a reminder that every shadow cast on film is shaped by countless hands and hearts, and that the stories we see are made all the more powerful by the stories behind them. The filmmaking of this movie is a masterclass in marrying technique with storytelling, where every choice, be it a subtle camera angle, a nuanced edit, or a carefully crafted soundscape, serves the purpose of drawing viewers deep into its shadowed world. The directors, cinematographers, editors, and sound designers collectively crafted a sensory experience that doesn't just tell the story but immerses the audience in its emotional and thematic depths. This exploration reveals how the meticulous application of filmmaking techniques transformed the script into a vivid, haunting reality, shaping atmosphere, pacing, and resonance. From the outset, the visual language was a cornerstone of the film's identity. The cinematography embraced a chiaroscuro style, playfully and purposefully dancing between light and shadow to reflect the film's thematic dualities. The use of high-contrast lighting, inspired by classic film noir and gothic horror, painted scenes with dramatic silhouettes and pools of darkness that lent a palpable tension. This was not just aesthetic but psychological. Shadows became a metaphor for the unknown, for fear, and for the hidden facets of the characters' psyches.